It's the way Singapore wakes up.
Wake up,
Glenn, Angel, and the Flying Dutchman.
wake up in the morning feeling like
Kiss 92's Big Show.
Good morning, and if you're watching us on the Big Show TV on YouTube and Facebook, you will notice that Glenn is in the studio with us, at least in spirit, and he is with someone else as well. If you'd like to join us visually, you can do so on YouTube and Facebook. That's Kiss 92 FM. Right now, we'd like to say good morning, Happy New Year, Kong Si Fa Chai to Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Good morning, and because it's the Chinese New Year, let me start the radio show in Chinese.
Okay.
大家好，谢谢收听 Kiss 92，今天是农历新年的第4天，也是生意发发的第1天。我是端林，与我同在的是 DJ Angel 和 FD， 祝你们有一个愉快的一天。
Oh, I understood some of that. You said it was day 4, but you also said it's the first day of what?
For the businesses, so businesses tend to open on the fourth day for a pocket of time for some of the Chinese businesses.
I thought they cannot open on day 4. It's like day 3 and day 5. It cannot be 4 because of the number.
4, so they open for a little customary sort of.
So they don't actually work. They just open and close?
Some do.
Some do? Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I did not know that. And then your name is Tuan Ling, did you say?
Tuan Lin.
Tuan Lin. I caught that. Yeah, I caught that. Oh, okay. Now it's back to English. Okay.
Back to English. Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Jerry. Okay, today we're talking about communities. Like over the weekend, we would have got together with friends, family, and maybe our community or our wider circle of network that we have. So what exactly does a community mean, and why are we talking about it today?
Well, because over the weekend, right, because we were talking about, the perils of Chinese New Year. It was, we go in with so much trepidation, but then we have so much fun, at least for most of us. We have so much fun with our family, with our extended family, with our friends. And I was just observing it, and I thought, hey, why don't we talk about that? And also, I think it was nice to be alerted to one of the things that we do during Chinese New Year, which is gambling. So the young ones are getting into all of it. And I was thinking about what I started with, at least one of my earlier works, which is with teens who are in secret society and how they got into that whole scene, or how they start to do all these, vices.
Because it's the promise of a community, a promise of a family.
Yes. It's
right?
a family, it's a brotherhood.
It is.
Yes.
And
So-
also, these kids are alone. They don't have their parents with them physically, mostly.
Correct,
they are there.
Correct. So before we start anything, I want us to think of something that we've left off for, I think, a few sessions ago, which is our core values. I think you wrote down during one.
I've thrown that piece of paper away.
My core values, to lose my stomach.
I see ang pao there, so
Yeah, that's basically Shalini with the red card means we have to go to Facebook and YouTube. You can join us on Kiss 92 FM. Right now, here's Surfaces with Baby Blue. Okay, let me get you my core values again.
I can't even remember.
You can think about it, but what is a community? So I actually wanted us to think about what our community is. So earlier I mentioned about neighbors, about like in the past they had village, the kampong style, faith base. So you have your religion, your spiritual groups.
So your church groups and stuff like that. That's your community.
Correct.
Yeah.
Your hobby, your interest groups, volunteer groups, your alumni, wherever you are, and you've graduated or you've moved out from that space, professional development.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the work-based employee sort of resources groups.
Right.
And interestingly, now in our modern society, co-working spaces.
Yes, we were just talking about that earlier as well.
Yep. So many different communities that we have. I'm not sure if anybody can think of any.
There's also co-living spaces now.
Yes.
Co-living
Yeah,
spaces.
co-living
There's
spaces is
there are
another
places like Hamlet and stuff like that where you can actually co-rent an apartment, and everybody's there to rent an apartment. So like flatmates.
Yes,
You
that is true.
in
Friends.
school hostels.
Yes.
Hostels, boarding
Hostels,
schools.
yes.
Yeah.
So hostel boarding school is still the academic
Oh,
sort
yes,
of
that's right,
setting,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Sports as well.
So that would be under interest groups.
Okay,
Interest
yeah,
groups,
okay.
yeah. Sports will come under interest groups.
Right.
But it's interesting. You're talking about having or being part of a community.
Yes.
And when I saw this topic come up today, I stopped to think, am I part of a community?
And?
I have family.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've got
Yep.
church community.
I have friends.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I am, but that's a congregation.
Yeah, but it's still
It's
a
still a community of
yeah.
sorts.
It
It's
is a community
of
for
sorts.
sure.
But that's the only community I've got.
No interest groups,
No. No.
colleagues. I guess that's
I think because I have been so public for so long that
Yeah.
I want that privacy.
Quiet.
I want that quiet.
Yeah.
You know, so
No,
I
yeah, I
don't
get it.
have that community.
I just joined, not just like maybe 6 months ago when Tofu came, the golden retriever community. So
There you go.
So it's and I'm sure it's like this for all breeds of dogs, especially pedigrees or even maybe Singapore specials. That when you see another of the same pedigree or same sort of mix, you stop and you talk. So we were walking Tofu the other day and walking past a traffic light, and this guy actually pulled up, and the light happened to be going red, and he actually slowed the car down and wound his window down, and he had a golden retriever in his back seat. You know, we had no idea who he was, but Tofu said hello for a while, and the doggy said hello, and then they drove off. So it's and we've had people cross the roads as well to
Yeah.
come and say hello. So that's kind of a community. An almost accidental community that you fall into that you cannot help. It's
Yep.
not like
Yep.
if I see another golden retriever, I'll purposely walk away. I'll actually be drawn to that person, you know, so we can sort of compare notes.
Yes.
And we have that in common.
So similarities, familiarity.
Yeah, like does your
Yeah.
dog do
Yeah.
this? Does you know?
Yeah.
Does he do this? So we compare notes. I suppose when you become a parent as well, that also
Yes,
happens.
Yes, parent group,
Parent group.
support groups. Yes.
I think that happens more with women than it does with men, though.
some men.
Yeah,
not,
I think
not
not
enough
all.
men. I think
Not
not
enough.
enough.
No,
men.
but I think if you see another guy carrying a baby and you're a guy carrying a baby, you would
But what I'm
have a
saying is, it doesn't
conversation.
happen enough.
enough.
It doesn't happen enough with men.
More now, I think, because
I
men
would
are
hope so.
becoming more
Yeah.
stay-at-home dads as well.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
But coming back to what FD was saying, right? Do you need many groups? No.
do you
don't.
need it? Do
you
you
need
need
a
a group?
Do you need any groups?
Do you need a group? Yes. Do you need many groups? Then
No.
maybe that's a question for everyone to answer also. yeah?
I feel I don't.
Okay.
I feel I don't.
But I get where you're coming from. Like when it comes to the weekend for me, I just want to stay at home. You know,
yeah.
because we're out there, we're on air, we're
Yeah.
in public. I've got my social media and all that. But sometimes you just want to shut
Decompress.
everything
Yes.
off
Mm.
and like not need to dress up, not need to look good, and
Yeah.
you know
You need
for
to
others.
decompress.
Yeah.
You need to decompress because a lot of people don't understand how stressful what we do is.
And
Yeah.
for other people, the weekend means going out,
Going out,
getting
yeah.
dressed up. You know, it's the complete opposite.
Opposite for us, yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
What group do you have, Dr. Jerry? What community do you have?
I have my radio family.
Okay,
Yay!
okay. But that's work.
No.
Okay.
So a lot of times you think it's work because it's your work, but I keep saying that all of you are family because you're not work at all.
Yeah, we don't consider it work as well.
Yeah,
but
we
sometimes,
don't.
Yeah, sometimes I feel that we can't speak for others, right? We can't
Yeah.
speak for how you feel about it.
So no, radio family, not
Not
work,
work,
at all.
okay, okay.
You know, I have my psychology community, so that's the professional development where we support each other, where we discuss about things.
Speaking of which, you were just in the news this morning. Maybe we can talk about that on air and
Oh,
find
my.
out what your thoughts
Community
are.
is.
My
Yeah, your thoughts
community
on-
is a buzz.
Yeah, and what your thoughts are on the news
Sure.
that recently came out. So
Yes.
just this morning, I think.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit of a recap about what we spoke about, in the
news.
story. Yeah. Okay, coming up in 30 seconds.
When we did not know the answers, and I missed the way you make me feel. It's true, we walk
Kiss 92 traffic.
Look out if you're traveling on Stevens Road. This is heading towards Walsh Road after Balmoral Park. Avoid the right lane. An accident has been reported. Also on the SLE towards the CTE at the BKE entrance. An accident has occurred there as well. Wherever you are today, stay safe. Good morning. It is Therapy Tuesdays with Dr. Geraldine Tan of the Therapy Room. And you know, Dr. Jerry,
Yes.
this morning on the news at the 7 a.m. news, we spoke about
Yep.
something that's really gotten the Singapore Psychological Society all talking and all
Yes,
buzzing, and basically the
yes.
psychology community as a whole.
Yes.
Since you're a psychologist and we
Yes.
get to speak
Let's
to you
go.
every Tuesday, what are your thoughts on it, about the framework to raise the standards and the recognition of your profession?
Framework, raising recognition, raising the standards, raising all of that is great, but let me just clarify, there are two parts to it. One is the use of the word doctor, in front of our names, and then the other one is the use of the word treatments. So that is a little bit sticky. So these are the two parts.
So when you say the use of the word doctor, what do you mean? I mean, you are a doctor, you have a PhD.
As in, yes, we've got our doctorate for some of us, but I think for MOH, they are a little bit concerned because people get confused with the medical doctor. So they don't want people to be confused. However, then what do we then do, right?
So what are they asking you to do? If you cannot use the word doctor, will you
what?
just be known as Geraldine Tan?
Well, they are speaking as in MOH, and all of them are talking about it. They are in discussion. They are exploring different things. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this
a real
is
shame, though.
this, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I'm going to get into trouble. This is typically Singapore. We underestimate the Singaporean. Oh, they're going to get confused with a medical doctor. No, they're not.
I think,
no, they're
But
not.
maybe there's a little bit more than
maybe there was a
that.
bad
Like,
egg that made
somebody
use of the name. Somebody abused it. But I think FD is right. I think it's also overthinking it
It's overthinking it.
and underestimating. You're right. The Singaporean.
We know what a psychologist is. If there's any confusion, I would grant psychologist, psychiatrist,
yes.
but not any other form of medical doctor, dentist, surgeon, whatever.
So a psychiatrist is a
Medical doctor,
right? Okay,
yes.
so they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine. The psychiatrists are fine. It's the
They are
psychologists.
medical doctors. Yes, it's a psychologist.
And I think you should be able to be called doctor, because if I can be a doctor of economics, I can be a doctor of this, I can be
Yep.
a doctor of that, then you are a doctor of psychology.
So if you want to use the word Dr. Geraldine Tan, you were saying you had to do
I have to
something.
bracket saying that I'm not a medical doctor and not a dentist.
Oh my goodness! You got to put this
ridiculous.
Dr. Geraldine Tan
Behind.
bracket,
Yes.
not a medical or a dentist. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for sharing that.
No worries.
Hopefully it gets all sorted out. You'll be able to use the word doctor. People will be smarter and know that you are not a medical doctor, and you'll be continuing to do your treatments.
I think it's more that they want to ensure that people get the best care also.
I suppose.
You're just being
make-
nice.
Yeah.
You're just being nice. That's all it is.
Geraldine for government.
We just want to eliminate all the risk and
Yeah.
make sure that whoever that is out there, helping the people are safe.
It's all down to education and awareness.
Maybe.
And
Yes,
hopefully we
yes.
do a little bit of that on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Can we just give the psychologists a little
The
bit of
credit,
credit for the
yeah.
lives they've saved?
Exactly.
Hello.
I'm
Exactly.
going to
exactly.
give a quick little note for those that want to have a little read. Straits Times Forum. So the president of SPS has written in. So Adrian Toh is his name, and you can actually read what he has written in the ST Forum this morning.
Oh, great.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
that's in the paper. So grab
Yes.
your papers or you can read it online. We're going to head to The Big Show TV. Join us on YouTube and Facebook. The time right now is 8:16.
Kiss 92 time check.
Okay,
Okay.
I've got a question.
Yes, go.
So we're talking about communities today, right?
Yes.
What's the difference between a community and a group? The reason why I ask this question is these small groups, and I've seen this time and time and time again, are extremely political. No matter what the group is, it always ends up getting political. What's the difference between community and group?
So we need to look at what a group brings, the benefit of a group, right? So if we think about it, there is, earlier I mentioned support. You can lean in to each other and know that you can count on them. You can grow with them. In terms of learnings, in terms of maybe even professional development. Okay, you have ideas, creativity, inspiration. As with, when I speak with all of you, then I get a lot of different ideas. Yeah, so actually the topic of community came from yourself when we were talking.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, right,
I don't
okay.
think you realized that.
No.
But we were having a chat at my house, and then he was like, okay. And that's when I sealed it in. I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about
Okay.
communities.
Okay.
So, yes, it gives us a direction, a purpose, a function. Let me see. Oh, I think I was talking to someone from the Harley
Club.
Yeah. And they have a lot of gatherings. They have their road trips. They have their charity work.
So that's like social interest groups, right? Kind
yes,
of, yeah.
yes. But they have something that they would like to do. You see, so there's a purpose, there's a function. Yeah, and there's a direction. Friendship groups decreases stress. So you talk to each other, you confide to each other. You when you talk to someone, you actually lower your blood pressure. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. Or it depends. I'm sure
sometimes
you
it
can
goes
raise
up.
it as well.
and sometimes it raises it, but yes, it's supposed to decrease your stress
Yeah.
in the longer run.
Yeah.
I like this one. It increases or it enhances your social skills.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
You communicate, you learn how to articulate your emotions, because we are talking about poor emotional
Etiquette.
identification, awareness, and when you talk to someone, it helps that.
But I hope people learn that, because sometimes people, they may be very social, they may speak to a lot of people, but yet they're so crass. Do you know what I mean? They don't walk away learning anything. They just are who they are,
Right.
and they continue
Right.
to say behave badly around people. So how do we get those kind of people to learn how to behave better?
So the environment is very important. So the other people, if you look carefully, are enablers, what we call
Oh,
enablers. They permit that behavior
behave like that.
continue. So if the environment is useful and helpful, they will then stop the other person and say, hey, I don't quite like this. You don't talk to me like that.
So we should open our mouths and say something.
Gently.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
you got to do it gently, otherwise it
Tactfully, yeah.
becomes confrontational.
Yeah, for sure. You
Yeah.
can't mirror that person's behavior,
Yeah,
right?
you can't. You can't.
Okay.
Yeah, and the very last one is my favorite. It's creating resilience. So they offer different ways of doing things. When we look at resilience, is being adaptable, and adaptability. It sometimes doesn't come from yourself if you are just, so emotion filled, you shut down and you cannot think. And people around you offer different opinions, different methods of doing things.
Okay.
It also lends to what Siu Cheng is saying, I think. She says, you are not alone.
Yes,
When you're part of a group, you're not alone.
right.
And I feel these days it's so much easier to become part of a group because there's so much online presence. You don't have to, whether you're dealing with grief or dealing with being a new parent or being in a new community, you don't have to physically be there anymore.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
so much stuff online that you can just Google, like crochet community, and you'll find all those people that are doing the same thing that can have the same conversations with you.
Right. Right. So I think to come to your question
Yeah.
about the political group.
Groups,
So I
yeah.
think group, we use it very generally.
Yeah.
But when you are saying specifically those that are trying to get at each other, what Siu Ching mentioned is very, very important, because in a politicking group, you feel very alone, or you feel that one person is ousted or alienated,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in a community, no one gets left behind.
Okay.
So if you look at the soccer field, right? It's football, and everyone is there singing the same song. Do they
The
call them
fans.
song?
The fans, yeah.
Anthems, yeah.
Anthems.
Yeah.
And then you see someone in the same, a team shirt, and you say hi.
And all you need is one person to start it, and everyone starts
Everybody
singing.
follows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no one gets left behind.
Okay.
And I guess that in Singapore, that's how community centers started to build, to bring the
People
neighborhood
together. Yes.
together, right?
Yes.
You can get to know your neighbors. You can
Yes.
do activities together. I don't know if there's still a big thing though now. Community clubs.
There are for the more
Seniors, right?
Yeah. But the younger ones seems to have their own community. Online communities are a big thing with the young ones.
Are they
Yeah.
effective?
Well,
I guess they can be.
I don't know.
There are even Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups. Those
Yeah,
are
I know.
communities as well.
yeah.
But
I mean-
are they as effective as a physical?
Where you can touch and feel a
Touch it,
person.
yeah.
Don't touch it. Touch
No, but
anybody.
you know what I
don't
mean.
anyhow
Yes.
touch, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean though.
Yes.
Groups that get together.
Physical groups are definitely more effective.
Effective, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my topic for tomorrow. Actually, human connection or Wi-Fi connection. Have a think about that, because a lot of young people may say Wi-Fi connection as opposed to human connection.
Is
You
there
know?
really a connection with Wi-Fi though?
What
That's
do you mean?
Is there a connection? Because
No. Would they rather
Yeah.
have Wi-Fi connection, as in your
That's
data?
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
is there a real connection with Wi-Fi?
they don't care about the actual connection. You know what I mean? It's just being online. That's what I'm talking about. Having social media, having your movies and stuff like that. The actual connection rather
yeah.
than your personal connection.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I've met some of the young people and teens. They actually have a relationship online.
Yeah.
They've never seen the person
Yep.
before, and you can ask them, do you see whoever
person's
you're
face?
talking? They say yes.
Oh, right.
Because they video.
Okay. But they've
now-
never met.
They've never met. Yeah, but now I'm a bit, suspicious, because if the AI is so rampant,
You don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah, actually don't know who
No,
you're talking
you don't
to.
know
You have
because
a
deep fakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we know with voices as well.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes,
ridiculous.
yes,
It's madness.
yes,
Even
yes.
our politicians have not been spared. They had
Yep.
one with Lawrence Wong talking about something
Yeah.
as well.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yep.
That person you could be talking to is an 86-year-old man in Sweden or something that
Yep.
may sound like a 16-year-old boy in Asia.
Oh.
No,
I'll make it even
it's
more frightening for you.
true.
He could be an 86-year-old man who's living right next door to you.
That's true as well.
And you wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
and you wouldn't know.
That's
wouldn't
true.
know.
Okay,
That's
traffic's coming up. Let's go on there.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Just one situation. This is on the PIE towards Tuas after the CTE City exit. Look out for a vehicle that's stalled there. If you have any other news, the WhatsApp number is 8855-0920. Good morning. It is Therapy Tuesday with Dr. Jerry, and we're talking about community today.
And remember, if you do have questions for Jerry, just leave them in our comment section, and we'll get to them soon. Benjamin came up straight away and goes, "What's wrong with an 86-year-old man?"
Oh no!
No,
nothing
that was
wrong
just a
with an
number, mate.
86
That was just a number we were
No,
getting. We plucked it out
if
of
that
the sky.
86-year-old man is talking to an 18-year-old boy, then that's a problem, and pretending to be somebody he's not.
Yeah.
That's what we
That's-
meant.
that's the issue.
number was just a number. It
I
could
mean,
have been
he could be
42.
86, he could be 42.
Yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
matter.
Yeah, it's just pretending to be someone that you're
he's not.
not. Come on to our Facebook and YouTube channels and let us know if you have any questions about what we're talking about today.
Communities.
Communities.
Yeah, we were talking about community, the benefits of a community, what a community actually means. Do our values, like our core values,
Yes.
actually come into play with
Yes.
choosing a community? Because you get to choose the community,
Yes, we choose exactly.
Right.
We choose the community.
not the community chooses
Exactly.
us. Okay.
So, what are our core values? So, I want everybody to have a think about what your core values, because then you would gravitate to the different communities that you choose.
Compassion.
Compassion.
Compassion is one of them. Honesty is one of them.
Yep.
Humility, kindness, and respect. Those
And
are
I
my
think
5
those
core
are
values.
those are just about everybody's core values.
Not
aren't they?
necessarily. No,
really.
I don't
Really?
think
Not
so.
really.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I had to look it up just to sort of kind of kickstart my list, right? Some people want accountability. Some people want creativity.
I guess. Yeah.
Teamwork could be something. Wellness could be something. They have
Yep.
like yoga groups and stuff like that. That's my core value. All I'm focused on is wellness. I don't care what your integrity is. I don't care if you're honest or compassionate, you know?
It's really interesting because when I look at a group, if I'm looking at a group, right, I would look at the core value of the group,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
without thinking that it's mine.
So that's why even when you choose your organization, it's important to look at your core values.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't look at mine. I look at, so what do you guys stand for? What are you guys doing? And there are only 3 things I look at in a community. I just want honesty. I want patience. And the last one is the hardest. Knowing your place.
So when you
Wow.
see that community have those core values,
Then I'd be interested in getting involved.
because you want core values like that eventually, or because you have those core values?
Because I think everybody needs to be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be patient, and everybody needs to know their place. I don't mean, by knowing their place, I don't mean hierarchy.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean knowing when to speak,
When it's
knowing when I
appropriate,
just
yeah.
need a ear, knowing when I need a shoulder, knowing when I need your advice. You know, I find so many communities, you get involved, you start to talk,
And they start to
and everybody's got a
preachy.
solution to your problem.
Everyone's preachy.
No.
Yeah.
No, I just need to talk sometimes.
Hmm.
You know, and that's the hardest thing for me to find.
Psychologists. They really, you pay for their
No,
time.
it's true.
Yeah, they keep quiet and they listen to you. They're
It's
there
true.
to listen. Am I right, Dr. Jerry?
Well, yes, but that's more already more clinical. I think
Oh, right,
if we
okay.
are looking at communities, it is important to know what your values are and you seek them out.
Out as well.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
need that commonality with
Correct.
the
You do,
community.
you do.
Correct,
You do.
correct. Even when you look at your friends, so you know you mentioned that you were friends with Glenn, or you've
Yeah.
been with Glenn for a really
Really
long,
long time.
So he probably would embody all these.
To an extent.
Yeah, no,
To an
it's true.
extent.
It's true. Yeah.
Because I don't think everybody can
No.
everyone can embody everything.
No.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can't.
possible.
You can't be everything to everyone
Yeah.
all at once,
You
right?
can't.
Right.
It's not
Right.
possible.
Right.
It's not possible.
Okay, let's head back to Facebook and YouTube. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always WhatsApp it in to 88550920 or get into the comment section on our socials. Right now, here's Nothing But Thieves with "Oh No," he said what? Yeah, on Kiss 92. This is exactly the title of the song. Oh no, he said what? Cute. Okay, so what else?
No, I did. It's just me, and I'm watching a show now. It's a TV show, but it's striking me, and it keeps striking me.
What is it?
It's a show called The Punisher, but that's not the point. Group therapies.
Group therapy.
So you all sit around, and
My name is Angel, and
I'm an
have
alcoholic.
a problem. Yes,
You know, but this one is different. These are guys who are in the military, and they come back and they've got all these
PTSD.
problems of integrating into society, and they're
yes.
talking about it. And it's done by, every time I see this done, it's done by untrained people.
What, the therapy sessions
Yes. There is no psychologist sitting there.
in this show that you're watching?
No. Anytime I've ever seen it,
A group that really?
and I've actually been to one, and there's no psychologist sitting there.
But who is sitting there then?
It's
an
just
ex,
a bunch of people talking.
but there's always a moderator.
Yeah, but
The-
that moderator,
Is an ex say, drug addict or alcoholic,
Yes.
right? That's
Yes.
Yes.
someone who's
Yeah.
healed.
But-
Yes.
Dr. Jerry, what are your
How?
thoughts?
So there's a difference between the support groups
Yeah.
and group therapy. So
Ah.
group therapy
has a psychologist.
has a psychologist there.
Okay.
And we use different theoretical frameworks. So I come from the Yalom one. So my
What's Yalom?
Yalom is Irvin Yalom is the father of group psychotherapy.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
All right, okay.
So he has a framework with 12 different areas.
Core values?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The
okay.
12 different core values. So, and he says that the group dynamics needs to fulfill all these different areas: altruism, cohesion, universality, interpersonal learning, guidance, catharsis, identification, family reenactment, self-understanding, installation of hope, and existential factors.
So
Yes.
this is the
So
Yalom.
yes.
What? You said you come from the Yalom
Well,
community?
he used that,
Right.
not community. So it's a framework. It's
Framework.
a theoretical framework that we use.
And how many others are there? Frameworks in psychology?
I'm sure that
There are
there
quite
are
a few.
different,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
different ones.
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So yours was-
that's with that is group therapy.
Group therapy.
Yours
Group
was
therapy
support
has-
Support group.
Support group is different.
Group is peer supporting peers. Yeah. So,
So
you
there's
have
no
some,
specialists.
You have
But my
an-
question is, does it really work?
I don't know. I've never been to one.
I don't
I'm
think
sure
it does.
Of course it does.
I don't think it does.
If
It's a community.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a community of
if I
people.
had someone who passed away, say a child or a parent, and I don't know how to deal with that grief, I would like to be amongst people who are also going through the same, to know that I'm not alone. And the same thing goes for an ex-drug addict or someone
But-
who is recovering.
But that's all you get. You're there
Which
with
is
a bunch
good.
of people who have the same problem,
Yeah.
but nobody has a solution.
Well, it's not a solution.
Oh,
I
no,
think it's
yeah.
about knowing that you're not alone. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
seeking any help, but you're able to speak with people not judging you. You know,
Right.
you're able to speak with people who have gone through the same thing.
Right.
So when they say I understand, they actually I understand. You know what I
Right.
mean? If I go to you, say, and you haven't lost someone recently,
Right.
you'd be like, yeah, I understand. I'm looking at you going, no,
No, you don't.
bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't. Because
Yeah.
you haven't gone through
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
So I think it's not about seeking a solution. It's about being able to just pour your heart out amongst a group of people that know what you're going through. And then later on, you can go to a psychologist and say, I need help.
Yep.
And then they give you the solution.
Yep. So support groups and even psychotherapy groups, they don't resolve anything. If you're looking at learning something, that would be a skills group.
Yeah.
What
You
are
go to-
psychotherapy groups?
Psychotherapy is one of the method that we use.
So
in-
they don't help, you said?
It's not that they don't help.
There's no solution.
It's not. There's no overt solution.
A
You
goal, right.
enhance.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So you improve your group dynamics. You improve your interpersonal skills. You use the group to kind of navigate you into a better space.
And you
Yeah.
learn to manage what you're dealing with.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So it's slightly different. So there are communities, there are support groups, and then there are the clinical groups.
social groups.
Correct, correct. So the support groups are like your AA, you know.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And the group that you were talking about.
How do we know what we need?
Yeah.
If let's say you're talking about bereavement, and
Yeah,
earlier
where do
you
we
gave
start?
that
Example.
right? Then that would be support groups. You might not go to someone clinical yet, but if you are sliding into depression, you might need your own. Let's say if the group needs a little bit more help, then we have clinical groups. So clinical groups are your eating disorder groups.
Yeah.
So led by a psychologist. Yeah. So that's where they need a little bit more structure, a little bit more direction, a little bit more guidance.
And you can use multiple communities at the same time, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So there are, what other groups are there? Social skills group, where you want to learn something.
Your EQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
social
people
skills
need
group,
that,
yes.
Ain't that the truth?
A lot of people who don't know they need it need it.
Oh no.
And and also, what about like communities within office spaces, because people spend a lot of time at the office,
Yep.
sometimes more time that they spend at home.
Yep.
Should big companies have communities?
They try, so I think the MNCs, they try to have like sports groups,
Yeah.
interest groups. They have individual team bonding. So for each department, their own team bonding, like afternoons.
Yeah, but I guess also, I mean, I'm just thinking about it, and maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, because you already spend so much time with the people. If it's done outside office hours,
Yeah.
a lot of people dread doing it because they don't want to spend any more
Correct. They
time
feel
with
it is an
colleagues.
obligation.
Yeah, and they just turn up because the boss said so, you know?
Yeah.
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 And there are very few people who actually, outside of that circle, there are very few people who understand that. That I work with these people all the time. When I have my free time, I don't necessarily want to be with them.
You don't want to hang out with them. That's so the community should, and these activities should be done during office hours.
Yeah, so they try to do it during office hours, but if you're doing a sport, like they have running groups, they have cycling groups, they have yoga groups, these are usually done maybe,
Outside office hours.
outside of office hours. Yeah.
Okay.
For some of the smaller companies, the medium-sized companies especially.
Do things like these, because I used to do them as well, but do things like these, what do they call them? Not group sort of confidence building. What are they called? These courses that they do during motivational stuff. Do you think that they actually work? I used to actually do these, but do you think they work?
As in you lead them?
Yeah. No, I used to do it. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure. Yeah.
okay.
Confidence
Many people,
building, you know.
Just that it's there a continuity. So when you talk about a community, so if you do a
Team building.
camp
That was what I
or-
was looking for. Team building.
Okay, if you do a one-time team building and then there's no continuity, then
There's no follow-up.
Yeah. Then that community falls apart after a while.
Okay. Hang on. Let's go back on air.
No.
I'm sorry that you're jaded.
Kiss 92 traffic.
I think everyone drove their kids to school and then went back home to sleep because there's no traffic news. So, usually peak hour, you get a couple of breakdowns and accidents, but nothing's happening on the roads. But if you spot anything, you can always WhatsApp us 88550920. It's Angel and the Flying Dutchman with Dr. Geraldine Tan of the Therapy Room in the studio with us today. Thanks so much for coming in, Dr.
No
Jerry.
worries. It is New Year.
It is New Year. I love the cheongsam that you're wearing.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. And we have Glenn here in spirit.
In spirit.
You can see him on our Facebook and YouTube channels. He's got a nice girl next to him in a cheongsam as well. And he's blushing. So
Okay, we were talking about these team building things, and you were talking about if you do it just once and you don't have follow up,
Yep.
then that's not what you want to do.
So, well, not that it's not what we want to do. We're looking at community, right?
Right.
So we want to foster a community. We can seed, the idea of a community, but if there's no follow up or if the core values don't align, then there would not be a community to continue to grow.
Actually, that's very interesting because you remember when I used to run an MC school when I was teaching people. The first thing we set up was an alumni, so that everybody who completed the course became part of the alumni, and then when they got work or when they had things to do, they went into the alumni and went, "Hey guys, I've got this. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas?" It became
a community.
that Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
So does that still exist? That
You'd be
community?
surprised. You'd be surprised. There are still 28 WhatsApp groups running.
Wow.
Still
I'm
today.
impressed. And that's what we want, that everybody, works together, collaborates together,
Yeah.
and is not trying to fight like cats and dogs, like competing for jobs or competing for...
It doesn't have to be a
no,
fight
it
all the
doesn't
time.
have to be. Yeah.
Speaking of WhatsApp groups, like there are so many these days.
Yes.
And people feel the need to always start one when,
Yes.
when you're having lunch
Oh,
or
let's
when you're,
start a
oh
group. Yeah,
my
let's start a
gosh.
group.
How can we exit these communities without offending anyone? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, oh, so and so's 40th birthday, let's all start a group, this and that. And then can you leave after that? After that birthday is done?
I think the person that starts it needs to put in that rule that once the event is
done,
over, we will shut it.
So if they don't shut it, let's say they forget, can you leave?
I think so. Why not?
It's
I
okay,
do.
right?
I think it's okay.
I
Do you leave them?
I just go, hey guys, event's done.
And I'm out.
I
Yeah.
need to get out of this group. There are too many groups on my phone.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes I look at my phone and I'm still in
Yeah.
these groups that don't exist anymore,
I
and
know.
you just want to know if you do exit,
Will
that
it
person will get a
offend?
ping that says
Yeah.
you've just left the group.
Yeah.
You know,
They won't, but when they go into that chat, they will see that you've left.
left.
The group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I normally explain it and then leave.
That's my issue. Why do you need to explain leaving once the event is done? You know what I mean?
Because they're part of your group, you show them that respect.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Here's Sia featuring Kendrick Lamar with The Greatest on Kiss 92.
I'm actually quite interested to find out from FD, right? Like, which of your groups embody that them knowing their place?
That's my problem, which is why I don't consider groups. Because people don't know. People just want to solve your problem.
I think people just like hearing the sound of their own voices sometimes.
And that's
You know
why
what I mean?
I am not a member of
And they think they know everything.
groups per se. I have friends, but I'm not a member of groups because I find friends will know more when to back off
Right.
than a group would.
But that's also a friend group, isn't it?
My friends are all one-on-ones.
Ah.
They're one-on-ones. You know?
So you don't do well in a group then, you think?
I don't enjoy groups. I don't enjoy them because two things. I've discovered two things in my life. This is related to me. One, they all try to solve my problems. And number two,
Especially when they're not asked.
and especially when they're not asked. And number two, I find groups are, how do I put it?
Just say it.
Too much of an obligation.
Oh. Thank you for spitting that out.
Yeah, because
much
you
of an
have
obligation.
to. You have to
You feel-
contribute.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like that WhatsApp group that you're talking about. You
Yeah.
feel obligated.
You feel obligated.
To remain
Yeah.
there.
It's too much of an
Yeah.
obligation.
Yeah.
Really. So, but I will say, having said that, there are times in my life when, because of that decision, you feel incredibly lonely
To not be within a group.
to not be within a group. There are moments like that.
Because I suppose sometimes you see people are out, people are hanging out with friends
Yeah.
and all that, and you're kind of like sitting there going, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I had
I wish
some
I had-
camaraderie
Yes.
like that, you know?
Yes.
Because sometimes you
Yes.
see like people always with the same people, like for years on end. They've been together for like 40 years, and these are friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 30 years, and you're
Yes.
like, wow,
Wow.
what
Yeah.
kind of friendship is that?
What kind of
you know?
friendship? How did that last that long? You know? And you do feel lonely sometimes. But generally, maybe I'm a person who just enjoys being alone.
Do you though? That's the thing. Or do you crave wanting to be in a group or even with a couple of people, not even a big group? Because the groups, like, maybe I would classify it 4 or more.
I crave finding someone I can trust. I'm not talking about my wife and my family. Yeah? Outside of that, someone I can trust
To be within that community.
to keep their mouth shut.
But you can't. The thing about communities is you don't have to trust everybody in there, right?
Oh, okay, I think
I mean, there are different levels of
we
trust.
have to trust each other to a certain extent. You won't hang out with your enemy, I suppose, right?
No, but an enemy, I don't feel like just because I don't trust you makes you my enemy. You know what I
true.
mean?
No, but
True.
what I'm trying to say is, if I tell you something,
You trust that the person
I
won't say
tell
anything.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hate to say this, the biggest shock I learnt was when I was going through marriage prep. And the person leading us through marriage prep went, do you know in another group I had, so and so and so and so and so and so did.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, if I can't trust you, who the hell can I trust?
Oh wow.
So they actually named
Who
their
the-
names?
Name names.
Oh, no.
And I went, if I can't trust you, who can I trust? Really? Who? And that was one of the real breaking points. So if I long for anything, I long for someone I can really trust just to keep your mouth shut. So I can come to you and I can say things.
And you don't have to say it with a disclaimer like, please don't tell anybody.
Yes, I don't need
Yeah.
to say that.
Because
This stays between you and me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need to say that.
yeah, it's hard.
It is.
Because
it is.
everybody I feel like has one tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I
Even me.
Yeah, no, and you have one tell, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, and I have one tell. You know, that would be my husband.
Yeah.
And probably for you as well, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I think that's okay. But and then what happens? Your husband or your wife has that one tell as well. You know what I mean?
And then that person has the
Has
one
one
tell,
tell, and then
that person
comes
has the
back
one.
one
And at
round.
the end of the day, this island of ours is so small.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to you.
Yeah. And that and after a while that story changes because with every tell,
Yeah.
the story becomes more inaccurate.
Inaccurate.
You know, because the
Exactly.
details are lost and everything's diluted, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's an interesting story for another day, or a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one tell, you know.
Yeah,
should
trust.
we have, yeah. But coming back to another question, maybe I will tweak my question,
Okay.
not community. Where is your sense of belonging? Where do you feel you belong?
Wow. That's hard.
Yeah, so I'm tweaking the question a little bit.
And you're not saying home because, I mean, that's where you live.
Yeah.
No, I don't belong at home. I belong with my family. Wife, children.
So home is where the heart is.
I belong
It's where
with my
wherever your
family.
heart is where
That
you're home.
is where I'm safe.
That's your community. That's your community. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
where you belong.
But yeah, and you said community can be family, can be
Yeah, it can
Can
be.
be.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but some people have more than one community. And that's fine.
and for different reasons and seasons as well.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah.
True.
Like
True.
I feel I have friends, certain type of friends that I like to go out for dinner and drinks with, and then a certain group of friends that maybe I like to travel with, which is nobody. But yeah, okay, let's let's go back on air.
We're not together
The Chainsmokers there with Summertime Friends on Kiss 92. All the great songs in one place. It is Angel and the Flying Dutchman with Dr. Geraldine Tan of the Therapy Room. And it's an interesting song because Summertime Friends are just friends that are there for the summer. And I was
Yes.
just talking about
Yes.
friends and groups and communities for different reasons and different seasons. Is that
yes.
okay?
That's fine.
It's absolutely okay,
Yeah,
right?
so you want to spend that period of time with a group of people that you feel you can get along with, that you can feel supported, that you can share some similarities, interests. So going through all the benefits. Yeah. So yeah, and it can be a pocket of time. It doesn't mean that it has to
Last forever.
Yeah, forever. No, nothing lasts forever.
Oh, no. What do
No.
you mean?
Nothing lasts forever.
No, I know it's true, but what do you
Nothing lasts
mean?
forever. Molly has come onto our Facebook, and I'd love to get Jerry's comments on this. Generally, I love my me time.
Yep.
And yes, I feel so obliged, the wording, and yes, I feel so obliged to touch base with friends physically.
Ooh.
Obliged?
Wow.
Wow.
Mole, is it?
Yeah,
Mole.
No, Molly.
Molly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
say?
Okay. Wow. So that is a big thing. I'm not sure why you would feel obliged to what will happen if you don't stay physically in contact with them
Yeah.
or don't reach out to them. Will they reach back out to you? Will they allow you to disappear and have your space? Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
friendships are reciprocal. You know what I mean?
Right.
If people reach out, then you reach out as well. But if they don't reach out, I mean, it's like the chicken and an egg. Somebody's got
Right.
to start first.
Right.
You know, but I've also learned to not feel obliged. Like if I'm thinking about a friend from a long time ago whom I'm not seeing for a long time, I would just reach out and say, "How are you?" Because I believe that if I'm thinking about them, And these days, I've learned life is so short.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least just reach
Yeah.
out and say, how are you? It doesn't have to be a long drawn conversation like, how's your life and this and that. And usually my friends will just go, great, how are you? Okay.
Done.
You know, that's
Done.
done.
Yeah.
A 5-minute
Yeah.
thing, as long as I know you're in a good space.
Right.
But if they say, oh, yeah, things have been okay, then at least it opens it up for
A little bit.
tell me more,
discussion,
you know,
yes.
what's happening. Would you like to meet up? You
Correct.
know, but I don't think anyone should feel obliged, but I think touching base when that person pops into your mind is always a nice thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the word oblige is very scary.
Very
It's a
scary.
strong word, yeah.
It's a strong
word.
Strong word.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the friends would do. I think the friends would not do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they'll drop you as a friend.
Don't know.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Jerry, as always, we wish we had more time,
Yes.
but do you have any final words?
Yes. So Helen Keller says, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much.
Nice and simple.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah. So go find your community, and
Go
if you
find your
don't,
community.
if you don't have
Yes.
one, it's okay as well.
It's fine.
It's absolutely fine. Thank you, Dr. Jerry.
No
Always a
worries.
pleasure.
新年快乐！万事如意。
Thanks so much for tuning in. Coming up, headline news and sports.
The only way to get up.